Hey guys, Grumpy here with another episode of Fast 5. So in the previous episode, we rounded out our fleet with the addition of a Venture and a Monitor. We also got some nice upgrades for our ships, and we're ready to jump into things. So without further ado, let's begin the episode. So here we have Summer Olympus, currently level 4. We have Navigation, Gunnery Implants, Flux Regulation, and Crew Training. Possibly thinking of changing crew training to something else. We'll see. And then looking at our fleet, we currently have the LP Brawler, Monitor, Shrike, Drover, and Venture. The Monitor and Venture being the newest additions to the fleet. Really excited for seeing what this fleet can get done. Going over the upgrades, we added assault chain guns to the LP Brawler. That's going to be huge for us. For the Monitor, we're still looking for either extended shields or shield conversion in front. Ideally shield conversion in front. Shrike, no real changes here. Drover, no changes there. Just want to again emphasize the massive amount of harpoons that we're bringing to the fight. So at this point, we're still in Asconia. We head back to Umbra for another round going against the pirates. I intended to fight what I thought was going to be a small fleet, but we attract the attention of a second armada that was waiting nearby. It does have two Colossus and a Shrike and an Enforcer, I believe. But it's majority frigates, so as long as we can apply the pressure to the frigates like we've done in the past, the rest of the fight shouldn't be too difficult. So, I immediately noticed that the Wolf is too far forward. So in order to take advantage of that, I go ahead and use my Sabo to overload it. By overloading the Wolf, we prevent it from teleporting away and becoming a problem later on. We also apply a ton of pressure to the Shrike using Sabos. I use one too many there, but it's better to go overly aggressive than underly and give the Shrike an opportunity to get away and then come back to the fight fresh. Hmm. I noticed my Monitor in the middle of all this. This is the difference that extended shields makes. The Monitor itself is not a tanky ship whatsoever. It has less armor, I believe, and less hull than the Omen, which is a pretty fragile ship. And because it can't close its shields, yeah, it ends up unfortunately dying to just a bunch of fighters. So going forward, we're definitely gonna pay closer attention and see if we can find extended shields or shield conversion in front. I noticed my Venture and my Drover weren't really contributing to the fight. They do have a lot of those harpoons, but they're not using them. So by giving them a couple orders that might, you know, encourage them to use those harpoons, which they start eventually. I try to apply pressure to this mule, but this kite being on my flank is really annoying. We go ahead and take care of the rest of the fleet. I hear a ship being overloaded. I assumed it wasn't my own, and it turned out it was the enemy's kite, so that was really good there. And then the only thing left is the Enforcer. I go ahead and help the Drover out to get rid of this Hound on its flank. I don't know if that was necessary. We probably should have just focused on the Enforcer the entire time. I noticed my Shrike is low on hull, so I give it the command to go fight something else. This is because the Enforcer is just, it's a really strong ship, and really don't want to put anything like low hull against it. And then just like that, we claim victory. We get the monitor back, thankfully. Alright, so fresh off the battle in Umbra, we go back to Syndria and then we rest and repair. And we jump into hyperspace and get very lucky here. Here's a nice small fleet with really good cargo. And the flagship happens to be an Apogee. If we get lucky here and we win this battle, then there's if we get lucky, of course, there's a chance we can get the Apogee and add it to our fleet. Now, the reason I decided to take this fight, even though we're so outnumbered, is because the Apogee, the flagship, is mounted with a Paladin PD. If this was a plasma cannon or a tachyon lance mounted on the Apogee, I probably wouldn't take this fight. The way I decided to tackle this fight is clearing away the frigates. Since we're outnumbered, just clearing away the frigates first, and then deciding to focus on the Apogee for last. Well, that was the plan. I wish I took that advice. I got extremely greedy here, and I thought I could pressure the Apogee myself and exploit the hole in the back of its shield. I severely underestimated the tankiness of the Apogee shield, for one, and then two, the fact that sitting next to that Paladin PD are two well-stocked antimatter blasters, which have absolutely zero problem getting my flux very high. So after learning my lesson, I decided to stick to my original plan, which is going to take down the frigates. We lose the monitor in the top left there. Again, not having the extended shields or shield conversion front really hampers the effectiveness of the monitor. It is susceptible to being flanked, and it is very easy to take down that ship without those considerations. Now, I try to engage the Centurion, and I completely whiff. My timing was off with the sabos, and because I didn't overload the Centurion, it was able to use damper fields, and while it has damper fields up, it's pretty much indestructible. So I decided to ignore the Centurion, let the Shrike handle that, and instead I decided to go after these two targets that are unshielded. I'm doing a little fancy flying, trying to avoid the salamanders on the way in. I unfortunately have to tank a little here. The Centurion is just proving to be quite a nuisance. I try to redirect the Drover and the Venture to one of the Lashers. That was a bit of a mistake, kind of a waste of time. I shouldn't have done that. I should have, at this point, now that we cleared away some of the frigates, told them to focus on the Apogee and start applying pressure there. I go ahead and dodge some salamanders on the way in, and I try to fight these Lashers. I don't know why I chose to fight them 2-on-1. Lashers are very tough ships. They have a lot of armaments to them, and in a 2-on-1 scenario they can apply a lot of pressure if they choose to. So here we have a perfect demonstration of positioning in combat. As you saw there, I took an opportunity to back away from the lasher to dump some flux before I went in to re-engage it. And now with all the frigates cleared out of the way, I decided to head back to support the rest of the team fighting the Apogee. I tried to get the strike involved with this kill. Thankfully we do get it done. The strike uses its antimatter blaster to push the Centurion over the edge, and then the rest is just clean up on the Apogee. So overall, good fight. Once the Apogee, because it has a front-facing shield, once it lowers its shield the first time, it's pretty much lights out. It takes just entirely too long for the shield to wrap around the Apogee. Well, this first initial one, it gets lucky and its shield covers it. But on subsequent rounds, we'll end up behind the Apogee. Like here. We also get the flame out. Because the Apogee was already rotating, it's going to continue to rotate. But it's pretty much lights out on that Apogee. Alright. But yeah, overall another good fight, nice and clean. We pursue here to try to get some Colossus as well. And we have to recover the monitor, which unfortunately costs a story point, but I think it's worth it, and we do secure the Apogee. Also a nice haul, 300 supplies, some recreational drugs to sell off, and we have a nice upgrade to the fleet. So pulling into Port Say, which was nearby, we go ahead and begin refitting the Apogee. I decided to try out the build that I showed in my ship showcase. There should be a card popping up now. This is the safety overrides plasma cannon Apogee that I came up with. I haven't used this build before. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but I just know that it's fun, and I do want to give it an opportunity. So this will eventually become our new flagship for the fleet, but I do need to fix my own personal skills and abilities to make the most of this design. To summarize the build, essentially what it does is it capitalizes on the fact that the Apogee has really good shielding, and uses its flux to maximize the damage from the plasma cannon and from the antimatter blasters. With this ship in the player's hands, you can 1v1 any capital ship in the game, so any Paragon, any Onslaught, any Conquest, and in some scenarios you are fast enough that you can 2v1, maybe not two capital ships, but definitely a capital ship and a cruiser. So staying in Myasora, we decided to head over to the abandoned station. Abandoned stations are phenomenal. There are 3 in vanilla, 1 in Corvus, 1 in Myasora, this one here, and then another one in YMA. They're really nice because you don't have to pay any monthly storage to put your items here. You can also store your ships here as well, and it doesn't cost you anything. So moving forward, this will be our base of operations. We did acquire an Atlas and a monitor in a fight. The fight wasn't too interesting, so I didn't want to include it, but we do have access to those ships, which is really nice here. And then taking a look at the fleet, this is the fleet as it stands now. We added the Apogee, replacing the Shrike, and then we also have the monitor that we added at the end of the previous episode. For the monitor, I'm still looking for either extended shields or shield conversion front. Ideally shield conversion front. It just makes a ton of difference. And then on the Apogee, we go ahead and level our officer, taking combat endurance. Missile specialization is also a phenomenal skill. And just overall, we're really looking for more officers. Because we have such a small fleet, we really want the best officers as possible piloting these ships. Really good officers can make a ton of difference on the battlefield. And then finally, looking at our character, this is the skills we have allocated at this point. Um, Still looking to make some minor modifications here and there, but overall really happy with where we are. Anyway, other than that, Grumpy out.